us, anyone like us rather, you've gotten sick of using these nicely made propane bottles that cost over $3 a piece, and then you just throw them away. So that's kind of where we were, or I was. I just kind of pushed them into it. But at first I bought this little gadget off of eBay that allowed us to refill propane bottles. It screwed into a large 20-pound propane bottle, and then the other end screwed into the little propane, the 1-pound propane bottles. Well, we had to tip it at a certain angle in order to get any of the liquid in there, and it you know, it put some in there. It was fine. And then but I was the one stuck doing it all the time. I wouldn't ask them to tip this thing up, and you know, I didn't, so I was kind of the one stuck doing it. So I went ahead and bought this Flame King setup. It came with a 1-pound refillable bottle, a spout that goes onto the 20-pound tank, and this nice little stand. And I will say, thank you, Beard Man. I will say that the concept is very nice. To be able to push a little nozzle or whatever.
Stinks now.
That's another thing with this. We'll get to that in a minute. Push a little nozzle in it and it fill it. Well, that's all well and good, but what Flame King doesn't really market, because it's the other side of this, is the fact that you have to constantly, well, unless you want to buy individual Flame King refillable propane cylinders for $20 a pop, mind you, 20 bucks. I can get one of these refilled for $10.75. $10.75 to fill these, and they say that these hold about 30 of your 1 pounds, which I don't know how that's possible if, you know, 20 pounds, 1 pound, so theoretically 20 pounds, whatever. But, so it's got a nice little tool that comes with it. You turn a little nozzle and it bleeds out the vapor, the propane vapor, so you can put liquid propane in these. And I will say, this is the fullest one that we've got out of this whole shebang. But yesterday we spent quite a bit of time trying to fill up these little bottles. I mean, they're useful. I mean, here's a little here's a little tiny lantern that we like to use with these. We have a little torch that we like to use with them. And I mean, the heaters, you get 7 hours of heat off of one of these little 3,000 BTU.
Yeah, we use that a lot because it's kind of cold right now.
Exactly, and they're great and they're handy. But you know, the other option. Okay, so I digress. So while you're filling these guys up, you've got you got to bleed them constantly. I mean, and they're sitting there, and I'll give you an example. Where's our bleeder?
Okay.
So you've got it's got a little valve at the top, and there's a guy online that they got a little tire tool, and he would unscrew it a little bit, and he said that after a while he couldn't quite get it set right, so he just recommended just pulling out the valve with a pair of needle nose pliers, angled needle nose pliers, because once it fills up, it will spray out that liquid propane and it'll freeze your hand. It froze both of our hands for a couple hours after we got sprayed with it. We were able to finally get one of these filled up. It was a lot of hassle. It was just a real lot of hassle. So this is a completely empty propane bottle. Completely empty. So we're gonna screw it on the nice little stand we got here. And another thing, I wish it would have came with a brace, because you're putting pressure. I could foresee this wearing out. I don't know when. It seems to be well made. I'll give them that. It seems to be well made. But I wish they would have put like a little bracket in here to where it would kind of offset the weight. But we're gonna 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And it's already starting to really dwindle down. So if this would have filled this bottle in this time, that would be well worth it. But that's not the problem here. The problem here is that you have to sit here and bleed out all the excess air.
Yeah, and then you can smell it. Ugh.
And it stinks. And I mean, the other night I went to bed with such a bad headache because I was working on filling these, and it's just a big pain in the butt. So you're sitting here holding up with a pair of pliers, smelling a big fart the whole time while you're holding up, and it takes a little bit of effort to do this. You're holding down on this to offset the weight
Oh,
on
it
this
stinks.
on this arm. It stinks. Nobody wants to be around you while you're doing it. Takes a little bit to air it all out. I'm not gonna sit here and do. I mean, I don't know exactly where it filled up. So then we get to put a little bit more in it. A little bit more. Yeah, okay, well that's nice. It's great holding this little button, but then then it's about done. Okay, we gotta bleed it again. Okay. Alright, well we'll do that. Oh, okay. Well, unbleed it, let out a fart. Just over and over again, that's my point. So with the little bit that we did just now, I mean, we might have got a third off of that. That's fine. I mean, if you don't mind not being able to fill these things up, you know, that's fine. I got this for $44. This kit, it's $44 to fill up these 3-pound. I'm gonna send this back. I don't see the $44 value in this. And I see kind of a bait and switch with this guy. If they made these $3, which they should, I'd buy a whole bunch of these. I would buy a whole bunch of them. That's great. The other thing is these propane bottles. None of these propane bottles. This is just a souped up version of these with the valve in a different place. But with these guys, they've got a valve that goes all the way down here, and when they fill them, they disconnect they don't disconnect. They turn a little valve to let out the air while they're filling it with liquid propane. So they fill up fast and they fill up with liquid propane. Well, these guys don't have that. As far as I know, they don't have a deal going down here. So you can't, like even with Flame King, the one that came with it, if you turn that valve while you're filling it, it'll spew liquid propane out. So you have to turn the valve off, fill, undo the valve, and let the air out, fill, undo the valve. So it's all the same. Either way, you're bleeding these things all the time. And so that tells me that we're losing. Yes, it's just vapor, and propane is a liquid, but we're losing something. So to say this actually saves you money, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna make a different recommendation for you after I went on that long rant, and that is just simply to get this hose. Now there are different hoses that you can get, but if you have like a My Buddy heater, I don't like the My Buddy heaters. They're fumey.
They're kind of like that, but they're not the same thing.
They are kind of like that. They're a ceramic heater, but they don't have this top covering, and I believe this top covering with the Coleman heaters is a kind of a secondary barrier, kind of like a catalytic converter. Well, it says it's a catalytic heater, so maybe that is a platinum mesh or something. I don't even know what it is, but I think these are fumeless. I have 4 of these, and they are fumeless. They are wonderful. The My Buddy heaters, or Mr. Buddy, Mr. Heater, My Buddy Heater, Big Buddy, all that series. I've had a couple of them, and they're all very fumy. It's just a ceramic block with holes in it, and it doesn't burn off all the fuel, so you have to vent it. But with these, you don't. So my recommendation to everyone is, and I told you there are different hoses. The other hoses out there, per the Mr. Buddy, I read the documentation that came with the Mr. Buddy heater, And they said, okay, well, you can buy this 5-foot hose or this or whatever, but if you buy these hoses, you need to purchase a separate filter. And the filter is because the hoses actually leach the propane. The propane leaches out the plastic or rubber or whatever, and it kind of over time it'll clog your catalytic heater. So the separate filter is what you need for all the other hoses. This hose, the F as in Frank 273704, per Mr. Buddy or Mr. Heater Buddy heaters, this hose does not need a secondary filter. So you've eliminated a part. I guess it's because this hose is made a lot better, but it per them, I guess it just doesn't leach it. So the F273704 allows you to connect this hose straight to a big 20-pound tank, and on the other end it simulates the end of one of these little 1-pound propane bottles. So you can plug this right into one of your whatever kind of device you're running. And the only reason why I'm recommending it this way is because there's no stink, there's no loss. You fill a 20-pound propane bottle up and you get to use all 20 pounds. You don't stink everybody out with refilling these little bottles up. So just get you an F273704 hose. I don't like how bulky these are. I really wish that they made smaller ones, but it's kind of it's just what it is at this point. These sell for anywhere from $27 to $30 something for this hose. I didn't like paying that much money, but I bought 4 of them, and so I'm just gonna send this back and buy a couple more of these 20-pound propane bottles and I guess just lug them around. That's the best option I have right now until they perfect this system. I don't know, I just think that's the best option. So thanks for watching. Sorry for going a little long.
Bye.
Cut it.